Imagine your email marketing is this leaky bucket. You throw your bucket into the well and you pull it up. How much water do you think you're going to get, or money in this circumstance? If you throw it into the well, pull it back up, and there's all these holes in it, you're probably not going to get much, huh? And that's the thing with most people's emails lists. So how do you turn your email marketing into a high ticket sales machine? The short answer is you plug the holes, you fix the little things before you go chase the new shiny little objects. And let's face it, everyone loves a good shiny object to go chase after. It's pretty sexy and stuff, but we're different, you know? We're here for results. We're not here for chasing shiny objects. Now, being someone who's an email list manager, I've seen firsthand people with multi-7-figure businesses and their email lists and their email autoresponders. It's a total shit show sometimes. A lot of them don't have their act together in terms of keeping things organized and knowing exactly how to bring in money with their email list. Most have a leaky list. And look, it's totally not their fault. It's extremely tedious. It's time consuming. You go in there and you just don't know what's the first thing to focus on. So you just don't touch it. So naturally, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. You don't want to go in there because what do? You don't know what to focus on first. So you do nothing. But the good news for you is this is something clients pay me to do. So I'm sort of inclined to go there, get a bit frustrated, get my hands dirty, and fix these problems for my clients. You know, there's somewhat of an incentive for me to do this. And I can admit, even for myself, sometimes it can feel very overwhelming to jump into an autoresponder that frankly looks like a teenage boy's room or my room when I was 15, just an absolute dump. The good news is, if you've got an email list, you've got this potential gold mine that's just waiting to be explored, mined, whatever analogy you want to put it. There's money in your list. You just have to know what to do first so you don't get overwhelmed. And especially if you sell a high ticket service, that's what I help my clients with in their email list. This is the perfect video for you. If I had to go into a brand new list, these are the things I would do sequentially to get some quick wins, to bring in the money, and then focus on the longer term stuff so that it can continually bring in long-term profits. So who am I? My name is Jules Dan and I'm a freelance copywriter and an email list manager as well, kind of like dynamic duo, which means I'm in the trenches every single day looking at email autoresponders, working with email copy with multi-7-figure businesses as well. Credibility flair. Nah, but seriously, I'm just telling you that because there's just too many fake gurus going around these days. I'm just reporting on the facts, what's going on every single day with my clients, so maybe it can help you along the way too. But I gotta be frank with you, I'm still kind of new to email list manager. I was a copywriter for 2.5 years just doing that. Email list manager is something kind of new I'm doing. And when I first sort of jumped into it, I was very overwhelmed on what the frick do I focus on first? I knew I had a clear objective, which is write content, make more sales. But then when I sort of started to get into it, I could see all these little fires just appearing up inside of my clients' autoresponders. And it's especially hard to know what to focus on first when you've got leads coming in, you've got all these different funnels that are set up. You know, where's the low-hanging fruit? What do you focus on first? So if I was to start with a new client, here's what I do in 3 sequential steps. Now, as you've probably seen from other videos, I've got my trusty teleprompter and memory device right here, my telephone. The framework we're gonna be following today is called the low gaping. So the framework we're gonna be following today is something I've called the low gaping rainmaker. I've called it something completely bizarre. I've coined it myself. That way you remember that, what the hell is a low gaping rainmaker? I've made it that way so you can easily remember it. So let's go into the low gaping rainmaker framework. First step is the low hanging fruit. The low hanging fruit are gonna be the show up emails to your sales calls. It's also gonna be a revamped testimonial page. Next up in the framework is the gaping wounds. Can you see how like the framework and the wording is also coming together? So gaping wounds could be, what are your current open rates and click-throughs for your autoresponder sequence emails? Does the copy need to change? Do you need to add more proof? Do you need to add more photos? Change your pattern interrupts? That sort of thing. A lot of people just create an autoresponder sequence, don't look at the data, and then think of changing things up. I'll show you a few different tests that I use my client to go from about, I think he had 14 or 15% to over 26% open rates. Now, the last part of the framework are the rainmaker emails. This is the boring stuff. This is the stuff that nobody does, but in honesty, this is the best long-term profitability emails you can include. And they're called consumption sequences. They basically help people get through the content, consume your content, come back, become a raving fan, and let's be honest, they're not a lot of fun to write, but they get results. So that's the framework for today, the low gaping rainmaker. Now let's start with the low hanging fruit. So these are the emails people to show up to sales calls. And this is also the testimonial page, the page people click on before they go book a call. Now, the weird thing is that people would leave these last because they wouldn't think these need to be optimized. People booked a call, surely they would show up. They click, they want to attend this. Or they see a calendar page, surely they've shown intent by clicking a link. It's just simple to book a time. Totally not the case. People are weird. After working with dozens of clients, selling high ticket, doing launches, doing email autoresponders, people are very apprehensive about getting on a call because there's just so much negative baggage associated with a sales call, especially with all the bad experience and bad gurus going around right now. They've been burnt before, there's a scary investment, there's a big number, a whole bunch of different things. So it's absolutely essential that before people get on this call, before they actually make this commitment, we make them feel safe, that it's okay to get on this call. And that's the key thing, make them feel safe. So here's a quick story to illustrate this. I got on a call with one of my clients' best closers. And I asked him, like, Damien, so how many people are showing up to sales calls? And he's like, I think 5 out of 10. I'm like, 5 out of 10? So they're paying for 10 calls and only half are showing up. That's super depressing. I dug further and I asked him, like, what are the reasons why you think that people aren't showing up? And he actually said that people didn't trust them. And it really got me thinking, and I had a few different conversations with the business owner and the salespeople, and it became clear to me that everyone was making the same claims. We're the best. We've got the best service, we've got the best courses, the best results. Everyone's saying the same thing. So I thought I wanted to do things a little differently, especially before people came onto a sales call. What do you think the number one thing is entrepreneurs want? Besides all the money and status that, social media tells us that we want. For me personally, and I think for so many other people, it's a strong community who are on the same mission as you. Now, instead of saying we're the best community, we've got the best whatever, I just show them what their life could be like if they joined our community and all the fun things they could experience. I didn't go in there bragging saying we had the best community. I just showed them lots of pictures of what they could expect from retreats in Thailand or wine tasting in London or workshops over in Australia, like all these really cool fun things. So I don't want to leave this to chance when they're thinking, what happens if I join this coaching program? Like, I want them to know outside the content, outside the info, there's some fun stuff along the way. So the same thing goes for the call booking page. We need to be super strategic with what is on this page because frankly, it's quite jarring if you were to land on a calendar page and it just has times and it doesn't really tell you what to expect in the call. Can be a little bit scary. So it's a little outside the scope of this video, but basically on this page is just a whole bunch of proof that strategically brings up an objection, takes the person from pain to pleasure, and backs up with proof. So you can see an example I've done here with the client. Can you see how these two things really synergize well together? Especially if it's one of the first things you want to work on, because you could pour in all these leads at the top of the funnel, but if this part of the funnel is broken, you're missing heaps of optimization by not nailing these two critical pieces in your email marketing funnel. So if you're wondering what are the first two things you should work on, make sure your show up emails are on point. You get people excited for what's to come in the future. And secondly is to have a really nice proof page. So this is to pre-frame what's going to happen before the sales call and giving them lots of proof and strategic testimonials of, hey, someone's been in this position before, they're just like you, and we helped solve their problem. That way you can eliminate any trust barrier. After we've done our show up email and a testimonial page, here's the second thing I would focus on. This is the gaping wound stuff. So these are your urgent money makers as well. But why didn't I put these in the above category? Well, because it's in the middle of your funnel. Like, we have to fix the top part of your funnel first before we fix the middle, right? So here's the thing, like everyone's got heaps of gaping wounds inside their autoresponders. So let me just run you through different examples of what I've seen. And this is what you would focus on first. So number one is you want to focus on the show up emails and the testimonial page. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but get those first two done correctly. The second thing are your follow-up email sequences. The next thing is your follow-up email sequences. So after your video sales letter, after your lead magnet, what comes after this conversation? So what are some rapid fire fixes you can do to improve the response of these email sequences? Then I think you know what I'm about to say here. Proof, baby, it's proof. And the cool thing is that it doesn't always have to be financial results as proof either. It could be someone struggling for a few weeks inside of your community and the community lifted them up. Or one thing I like to do is I like to create an FAQ style email, and inside that email answers every single question they would have about your offer, why they wouldn't want to do it. It's kind of like an objection busting email, but in an FAQ style. Every single claim, every single question is then backed up with strategic proof inside of that email. And granted, this email took me several hours to write. It's quite long, almost like a mini sales page. And then to build it inside the autoresponder took even more time. Trust me, it's totally worth it though. Another good email testing idea to fix some gaping wounds in your autoresponder is how someone was struggling inside your program and what are some common things they might run into. How did you help them as a result? Doesn't always have to be about ROI. It's always how someone might be feeling on the other side. Sometimes a good win to brag about is an emotional win, not always a money win. So keep that in mind when you're fixing up your autoresponders. So to wrap up the gaping wounds part, what would be my checklist to make sure everything is hitting everything? Everything is hitting everything. I would make sure, what are the open rates and click-throughs? Have I tested different angles? Does the copy need to change? Read through the copy. Is it crap? Is it boring? Is it too long? Is it too short? Maybe we need to test something different. And then of course, have we added proof? Have we added strategic proof to our emails? Not just some big block of text. Like, have we gone through and maybe underlined things? Have we made things shorter? Have we made things bite-sized? Have we included GIFs? Have we included maybe a video? Different kinds of media are always worth testing. So hopefully that's giving you plenty of ideas of what to fix in terms of the gaping wounds of your email autoresponder. Now, assuming you've done all of that, you fixed up the show-up emails, you fixed up the testimonial page, you fixed up the autoresponders. Here's what I would do last, because it's not the most urgent. It's definitely the most important, but it's not the most urgent. But this is where you make the most long-term profits. This is how you make customers happy. You get them coming through your program, spreading the good word to everyone else. These are your Rainmaker emails, aka the consumption sequence. It's how you get people from start to finish, finishing your products, and bragging about your stuff to everyone else. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due. I learned this concept from someone called Ian Stanley. Ian's an absolute genius when it comes to email marketing. So if you want to check him out, he's got some great stuff on this. Like every other guru though, I take their ideas, I spin my own ideas in there, and then I give you back the results here on this YouTube channel. And if you like all the ideas that I'm spitting at you right now, let's face it, who wants to be spat at? But yeah, if you're enjoying these ideas and stuff, make sure you hit the thumbs up on this. I really appreciate it. I've called this the Rainmaker email part because everyone knows that most of the money is made on the back end. Amateurs focus on the front end, pros focus on the back end. People who've already given you money are much easier to then give you money again. And that's why I think this is the most important part, but technically not the most urgent part. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because people love to start things and then they procrastinate, come up with reasons why they don't want to do it, and then they just don't finish stuff. So that's why we're doing these consumption sequences, helping them get across the line. Because think about it, there's so many other fun distractions out there, like some other new course or going out for a date or anything else. Completing a course is just not sexy. The gold standard would be to have an accountability partner to help get you through this. So the next best thing we can do is to create an automated accountability partner, aka the email, to help them get through this. Now, this is what you would do if you have a coaching program or a course. This is how I would gamify it to make people feel like they're having fun along the way and still making progress. You gotta make consuming the content fun. And I know that doesn't sound like an easy thing. So here's 3 things that your consumption sequences should probably include. 1, it needs to be fun and entertaining. Now, if you want to know how to write fun and entertaining emails, just come join my email list, by the way. Links in the description if you're curious to see how to do that. Number 2 is that you need to reward people with micro wins, even if it's just a micro momentum part. Oh, and the really cool thing is that if people go through this, they're consuming all the content, you're basically training them to open your emails and click on your links. So they're going to turn into really good email subscribers after this. Exactly what we want. Now, if you're wondering, how do you actually write this? What does it look like? I can give you a bit of an excerpt. You're basically going to wrap around a lesson around a story. It would just be way too boring if you just said, here's the task, go do it. Day 1, action 1, day 2, it's just too boring, right? So as a general rule of thumb, you don't want to make every story look the same, but what I like to do is build some tension, build some curiosity, and then the payoff is by clicking the link. Last thing I want them to think is, oh, I've seen this, I know this, I don't need to click on it. Point is, I want them to consume everything inside of these email sequences. So everything needs to be fresh, new, exciting, curiosity driven, what's in it for me, all that good stuff. If you don't see the value in that, then I don't know what will. The money is made on the back end. And this is how you do it. But everyone's so crazy obsessed with the front end. Like, why do I even bother sometimes? I swear I'm like that old dude at the bus stop ranting and raving. Back in my day, kids were smart and they were focusing on the back end of marketing. But if you can include an automated accountability partner with your course's coaching program, you can be way ahead of everyone else and really improving the long-term profitability. So how do you take this video to the next level? So don't worry, I'm not here to pitch you into some $15,000 mastermind. One of the biggest struggles that people have is coming up with consistently good money-making emails for their email marketing. Outside of a promotion, outside just telling a story, how do you actually build a strong relationship with your list and make money for the long term? Well, the good news is if you check out this video here, I go through 5 cash cow email marketing templates. These are the 5 kinds of templates that I use with my multi-7-figure clients for their email marketing and their email lists. Trust me, you won't run out of ideas, especially when it comes to building a relationship and creating more sales from your list. Check out that video here if you are interested in something like that. So if you're a list owner, you sell a course, you sell a coaching program, all the good stuff, I think this video over here is really going to serve you out.